What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You're now watching Kinetic Outcome, and we are with.
Young Hysan was good.
And anything about him, we'll put it down in the description box. So make sure you follow him, check out his stuff. Pretty amazing artist, young
Thank
and
you.
fresh and dangerous. And yeah, so to get this started, a little bit of an introduction of yourself, and then next step is like your story from your younger days. How did you get influence, and how did you get to where you are today and what you are pursuing?
Well, yeah, I'm an underground artist. I make trap music, I make hip hop, that kind of stuff. I'm pretty much kind of a fluid concept at this point. I just kind of do whatever I feel like doing. And I guess I started this stuff. Music was, as a kid, was the most important thing to me. Like, it was the only thing I really connected with other than video games at the time. And yeah, when I got into high school, like, I just decided, why not try it out? One of the first things I did, like, everyone starts afresh, so why not be a musician? And I couldn't sing, I could play drums at that point, so I decided to rap. And I like writing. I like the whole idea of being able to take my thoughts and put into, like, I'm sure as you probably are as well, taking your thoughts, put in like even if you couldn't rap it out, you just write a notebook, and it feels like it's a piece of yourself. That's you. That's more real about you than you are with your friends, and you are with your family. You are like doing whatever you are in your daily life. And yeah, so music has always been something very dear to me. But I only started taking it seriously when I was about, I'd say, like 17. And a crucial point for a lot of people in their lives, when you kind of decide like what the fuck you're gonna do with your life, right? Yeah. And at that time I was really fucking up at school, like straight up. I got kicked out of school. And yeah, at that point I was like, you know what, I could just spend my entire life just working, just being in a job, or just actually put my time into something I think is worthy putting my soul into. So that was music for me. And when you grow up, like, shit gets real. So, and hip hop becomes even more appealing. I think it becomes even more necessary for, I think, people ages 15, like 35. Like, captures a lot of things about life, I think.
Cool.
In modern day.
And when you said 17, was that like last year or the previous year?
I'm 20, about to turn 21, so like about
So
3
realization
years
was
ago,
3
3
years
4 years
ago.
ago, yeah.
Man, that's really young. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, next up is like the process, like deciding if you really wanted this or not, the challenges throughout, and the fruition of the outcome recently. I mean, you also work together with the Lomays, right?
Yeah.
So like from that transitioning to I'm gonna take this music shit seriously. So previously, when you weren't that serious yet, when we met, you were just putting out tracks, right? Not really like EP, like what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So how was that transition?
Man.
Challenges and outcomes.
When I met you, that was probably the hardest part, I think, around that time. Like, when I started taking it seriously when I was like 17 until when I was about like 18, 19, like, that's when you're grinding, right? Like, you make a lot of music on your own, you practice, you try to hone your craft, you try to work on your expression, you try to understand exactly what art is before you make art that people would want to listen to. And during that part, like, you don't get a lot of encouragement, and you're really your own motivating factor, and you have to have like faith in yourself, faith in your art, and that what you're doing is the right thing. And yeah, like, it's hard at that point to think that even now, right, not even like 3 to 4 years later, like right now, like, to get this amount of attention or this amount of an income from making music, I couldn't imagine that at that point. So yeah, but I thought what I was doing was dope. I thought I was a good rapper, so yeah.
Well, you gotta be confident in your product in order to sell.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Hey.
whatever you do, like what Gary says, make sure you're 100%, not 99.
Yep.
Yeah. And to move forward, what do you think of Hong Kong in general's like approach to the hip hop culture that we're doing?
I think like in Hong Kong, actually, the music industry, like, artists make a lot of money. They make a lot of fucking money. Like, they got mad shows. People are willing to listen to their stuff and pay money for it. But like, the circle is, like, in terms of genre, it's really small. It's canto pop, like different certain musical styles. Like, recently, a bit more of like something that sounds kind of like K-pop, but it's only that small circle of artists that make a lot of money. And hip hop hasn't really infiltrated into that circle yet. But I do think there's hope, like globally speaking, hip hop is the biggest, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, musical genres nowadays. I think it's definitely surpassed rock, at least. And I think it's just about time until it blows up in Hong Kong. But the question is it going to be like next year, this year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Like, it's hard to tell.
Shit, not 10, man.
Hopefully not 10, man. Fuck that.
Yeah, I'd be too old. You still be all right,
Barely.
No, wait, you'll be 30.
I'll be 30, yeah.
Shit, we both be 30.
Yeah, goddamn.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, next up is like, if there was anything, it could be personal. Doesn't have to be. I mean, we can always cushion our words because there's always good debates as well. Since we do have an audience that are going to watch, what do you think? If there's anything that you could address to everybody that are part of building the hip hop culture here, or if there's anything in your mind that you wanted to express to anybody that's viewing right now, because overall, everyone who's related to music is probably going to be watching this.
I think the number one thing definitely is, like, speaking from my own personal experience, and I'm sure a lot of people here, is that you really have to have confidence in hip hop, Hong Kong hip hop. And when I say that, is that it really takes quite a leap of faith. I think number one, to, of course, actually take this shit seriously, and number two, have faith in other people's stuff so you can collaborate with them. And that goes not only for rappers, but number one, producers. I think the rapper-producer relationship is very important. And in addition to that, like, brands, people who could, managers, people who can help us out, like really put this on like a bigger thing. Filmographers, like MVs are really important in Hong Kong. I think MVs are more important in Hong Kong than even in America. Like,
you mentioned about the cinematographers. We do lack that a lot in Hong Kong. I mean, there's a lot of video people, but many have been saying that creativity is what lacks. Yes, you're thinking of where to film, what background would be cool, which angles would be great, but I think that's not enough because there's storyboarding, right? And there's also like, oh, I want to go to this location. Maybe this scene could be in a restaurant. Now, how do we get in that restaurant? No offense, but super professional ones, it's not in that level yet where it's like, wow. Or I don't know if it's a budget problem, but no matter how great a video is, even if you had a nice Bugatti in the background or a Rolls Royce or anything that's expensive, if the storyline is just not there's not a dope storyboard, or everything counts, man. I mean, like, even if you get a model and if the model's just a model, it doesn't count as much compared to the model actually interacting with the artist. So many major factors in that area. And I really think, just for me, for doing this industry for a while now, for the filming side, we need more super crazy visionaries that can make things come to life than just filming. Budget, background, we need this. It's more like, how do you put life into that song and relate every bar, or at least the whole topic into that whole video? Yeah, which is probably what we're all looking for as artists. Nobody wants to have a fucked up video. We all want to have a dope one, right?
Yeah, especially in hip hop, I think artists are so personalized. Like, when you make a song, it's more than just a song. It's your whole story. It's all everything like that. And hip hop is probably the most. It puts like such a unique, like characterized version of the artist that videographers have to really capture that through their video. And even though some things, like even some vibes, even if it's a good video, for example, it may not be the best thing to bring out everything about an artist. So at least for me, I try to at least put in elements, or at least put in my own ideas, or have my videographers do some things that say something about my background, about me being a young person in Hong Kong and the struggles of being that, or things we go through. And yeah, it's every single city has a different story to tell. Cool. And it's not always just what works in America or Japan or Korea might not work here, I feel. Yeah. All the times, yeah.
That's cool, actually, if we get to really translate it to visual and music for an actual personality of what the culture is here, then it blows up. So
yeah, I also feel one thing about Hong Kong is that, like, Hong Kong film, like during the 80s and 90s, it was like really fucking big in Asia, right? Like Japanese people, Koreans, fucking Americans, everybody like fuck with Hong Kong shit. But like somehow around the turn of the 90s, like the whole mentality switched a little, where it went from Hong Kong being an originator of things to like sort of like an aggregate, like it takes some bits of Japan, bits of America, mixes up together, and then this is Hong Kong. But Hong Kong is really a really unique place, I feel. And in a good way or a bad way, the problems we face are so uniquely difficult as well, as we all know. So
rent, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, to
Shout outs to Edry though.
yeah, shout outs, man. Like he's behind the camera, and we'll expose him later.
Yeah.
That came out wrong. Next question. How to make this more interesting? We were talking about this earlier, about like the Lomes and how the marketing works for you. Like you don't need to like expose your little secrets live, but
I'll tell you all my
if there's
secret,
anything
though.
you want to
Yeah.
put out or like advice or how does it work for you? Because I really believe he has a great team because they're funny and people revolve around funny. So add that to the funny team plus one of them doing actual serious music, that blends in together pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what you were explaining earlier.
Yeah, I feel like one thing about Hong Kong, like at least for Lomes, right? Like I'm not sure how many of you know, like the story behind it, how the fuck we blew up, but it's like Lin Dang and Go Dang, which is like a Hong Kong internet forum. Like our stuff got about maybe let's say like several thousand plays, and then suddenly this one guy threw it up there, and it just blew up. And the same thing happened for Young Hysan as well. Like I guess the community there just likes talking about the Lomes and shit, right? So when 25 came up, that happened. When Digits came up, that happened as well. And I was just lucky enough to be put on that platform, and people can discuss about it, whether they like it or not. And yeah, and even though Hong Kong, like media can be so dispersed sometimes, I feel like it's good that there is still sort of an online community here that discusses about these things and puts artists at a certain platform so they can have attention for that. Yeah. I never aim for that because it's really hard. Like, how the fuck you aim? Like, you can aim to have your stuff on Apple Daily or like this publication, but to be talked about by a bunch of like bored teenagers on their mobile phones, that's a total different ballpark. Yeah.
Which is great, honestly. You make people talk, you get more attention.
Yeah.
Good or bad publicity is good publicity.
It's good publicity, yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty tough because I know myself pretty well. If you want to go to the route of super professional, I really believe anyone can be famous as long as you got good product, good execution, good promotion. But I did like a promotion for where I work at the moment, and I studied a bit of Google AdWords. So you need to research your target market of YouTube channels of which area you want to hit. So right now we wanted to hit Hong Kong. So what are the most popular channels in Hong Kong plus global channels? And for example, Timothy De La Ghetto, he has 3 million followers, right?
Right.
How do you slap placements to all these people that are watching from Hong Kong?
Okay.
Because you have all the target that you want there for comedy
True, yeah.
and music. So that's just one example. But the toughest part is investing. And we're investing right now 800 USD a week for the YouTube channel. And in one day, you can reach about 10,000 views, but legitimate comments and actual human being subscribers. Because, you know, a lot of people do the easy way, right? There's also buying fake views and fake likes.
Fuck that.
I'm just being frank. 'Cause
Yeah, man.
I've
fuck
seen
that
it.
shit. Like, fuck that shit,
So-
man. Fucking hate that shit.
Yeah, it's very tough to make it, to be honest. You got to be working a lot to invest in what you want, but there's always like simple ways like Facebook, Instagram as the cheapest form of marketing if you pull it off right.
Yeah. I feel like one thing is that it's really hard to like to say something that you really mean and have people like constantly pay attention to it, you know. And you have to use the right ways to absorb people into your narrative, into your own world, and have them explore that. And which is why I'm really trying to push this EP out. Like I've been
Looking forward.
perfectionistic on it. Yeah, like No Feelings. It's coming this month. Yeah, like I had a little technical difficulties because my producer had some family issues. He had to go back to France and stuff, but he's back soon. And yeah, I think it's important to balance promotion with actual things that people can really, a very consistent narrative of my story, of my world that people can really explore in. Yeah.
And by the time his EP's out, probably this is not out yet, so the link would probably exist in the description box as well. So I'm probably gonna drop it there when it's out. So you better look at it now. It should be there.
Should be there.
At this moment in time. Not at this exact moment in time, but the time you're watching it. Yeah, so next question. What should people expect with you in the long run? Because change is constant, right? Right now your style is, like what you said, mainly trap, is it?
Yeah.
So besides trap, are there any other areas you want to tap into or looking into?
To me, trap is just a vehicle. Like for me, what I'm really going for is so-called the Hong Kong spirit. And people say that as a positive thing, but here I'm trying to frame it as a more of a neutral or even negative thing. And it's just my experience of what Hong Kong is to me, and as materialism. You know, materialism competition, heartlessness, and that's the environment I grew up in. So how I survived under that, what are my reflections from that, and I think that's something that I think like Hong Kong was a very extreme example, but I think everywhere in the developed world, you know, being a young person growing up without much guidance, like it's something that we all have to face and we all have to struggle against. And I'm trying to put that there in the most honest terms possible. So yeah, I'm just hopefully that using trap music, you know, get to people. I think that's the best musical form I think I can do to express myself. And even in trap music, there's a lot of different types of trap music, right? And I'm trying to, you know, tweak the formula, see what sounds best, see what is the most, you know, personal, has the most energy, and at the same time, you know, captures what I want to say in words. I know that Hong Kong people tend not to pay attention to words because a lot of y'all don't speak English, but you know, I'm sure you can read it. So you know, if they listen to it enough, they can maybe look it up on Genius or something and really absorb and see what I'm thinking about.
Technical difficulties. I will push this back. Yeah. And let's continue. So we were talking about
Yeah. So in
what would they
yeah.
expect, right? Yeah.
In 2018, I'm aiming. I already have my next project. It's already, in terms of thought and songs itself, it's already 80% done. Production is 0% done, but the songs are 80% done. So that's probably gonna come up in April, May, something like that. I'm gonna drop a couple EPs. Yeah, hopefully, I'm trying to put my goal for this year would to be able to elevate my own stuff at the level of success of the Low Mazes, which is been fucking crazy. Honestly, it's been fucking crazy. Like, we've been packing shows, like 700 people. We sold out tickets. We did 2 shows over Christmas. Both shows sold out in 2 hours.
You did Macau as well, yeah?
Yeah, I did Macau as well, yeah. And the crowd was crazy. Like, they knew all the lyrics and shit. So, you know, but they can sing along to it, right? So that really gets them hyped up. I think one challenge about my solo work is to get locals, I mean, I hope the international crowd as well, but to get everybody to really sing along to my songs. And when you're rapping in triplets, it's hard to do that, you know? So, yeah, like, I'm trying to make my stuff as impactful as possible.
Great. I think there's still like last 2 questions to go through. One was like, who do you look up to? It doesn't have to be just in music in general. There could also be somebody out of that category.
Man,
you can do both.
The cheesy answer would be my dad, but not like.
Oh, that's fine too. Even personal. Some share personal. You know?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'd say honestly, like my dad, to some extent, like my dad never really said much. I didn't have that much of a good relationship there. He wasn't really there a lot, but like, you know, he put food on my plate. You know, he raised me. You know, we never had to worry about rent. So I mean, he had a job. You know, he had a job. I think he kind of likes his job. He doesn't hate it. So I think for me, like, you know, as much as being a rapper can seem like glamorous, you get a lot of attention, you get a lot of like people who kind of worship you and shit, but like at the end of the day, you know, when you're back in the booth, like some good days is a good day, but there are some days where it's gonna be a job. You're just gonna have to wake up, write that song, record it, and, you know, do it and try to make it better, you know, and it's determination. So like, yeah, like for me, the way I think of it is I want to use music to be able to put food on my plate, if I have family, and be able to feed them as well. So yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in between the lines of dumbfounded. I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but he said, rap is the full-time job. Don't expect a happy wife if you live a rapper's life.
God damn.
It's
Lifestyle.
It's a lot of hard work. Yeah. And last but not least, emotional barriers. You know, like people you may have expected to support you but didn't, or like the hate side of things. Like I know when we all grow up, it's like I just don't give a fuck. But you know, going through the process of like maybe I should pursue this or not. Like maybe my mom or anybody that I wanted to support didn't. How did you overcome that process of starting from not being supported or being affected by all of that negative energy to now?
Man, I think in terms of that, like around now is probably the most difficult part, because like when I was a little younger, you know, like I was just full on like I don't give a fuck. Like I'm just here to like exactly just do what people don't want me to do, right? Fuck that, yeah. So like, but now you realize when you get to a certain level of success that people start to support you, or even people who used to not support you, they support you a little bit, but don't support you in like the big scheme of things, and like yeah, whether it's family or work or this or that, and I guess at the end of the day it's because they don't understand, right? And that's the reason why you rebel in the first place, because people don't understand, right? They feel like their worldview is the only worldview there is, and they don't really understand how to live as a young person growing up in Hong Kong. So I guess, you know, that the positive way to look at that is to use that as a motivation to try to make better music so people can actually understand me, you know, or get to a position where what I say is so impactful that people are forced to try to understand me, you know. So that's the positive thing, but the negative bit is that, you know, self-doubt. I'm sure we all feel that, self-doubt, but yeah, like, I think for that anxiety, I didn't really work as my Xanax in a way. So like, it's the best way to not worry about it. Worry about like whether or not I'm gonna make it, whether or not I'm gonna get this placement, or is gonna get this amount of views. Is just make a new song.
Yeah.
I don't actually like. I hate going through my YouTube channel. I hate like checking how many views I have or how many subscribers I have. Like like my phone is constantly off. Like I just don't like checking my phone because.
Just give a ringtone for me though, so when
Hey.
they contact you, you know it's me.
Hell yeah, man. Like, shit, but yeah, like
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. It's like keep at it, keep working. You put something out, don't be comfortable. Keep putting the next thing out and plan the next thing out. Because once you sit down there, just watch the likes and expect something to happen, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But if you just
yeah.
don't give a fuck and keep at it, something will happen.
Something
eventually.
will happen. Yeah, it's true, man. It's true.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's about it since we already talked about your plans. So, yeah, guys, that's about it. It's
Hey.
a wrap. So, kinetic outcome and a lot more to come.
A lot more to come. Really appreciate you having me here, man. Hey,
And it's cold.
it's cold as fuck.